Hi beloveds, so here we are again. It's the 31st of 2018, so it's New Year's Eve tonight, and on some levels in our calendar that we use, we're going into a new year tomorrow. Well, it's not really a New Year's one, but I just thought to sit in front of this camera and see if anything comes. What has been coming up for me and percolating has been sort of, I don't know, it does stuff. I know I'm a mad woman, what to do, how to say, that's why it's called Suchira Gibberish. Okay, so what's been coming through at the moment? There has been coming through for quite some time now this feeling of watching people making excuses and feeling something doesn't really taste right with this. Now, I understand that we have all had things happen in our life, or other people have had things happen in their life which have created a situation which means they act in a certain way. Maybe they act in an unconscious way, maybe they act with fear, I'm not saying anything about taking anything away from difficult situations which have created us to be a certain way. So I am not, if you can try and take this as not, I am not judging. But I see in this time that if we are not careful, we use this, we can find an excuse why it's okay to be as we are, which is fine, but saying that we also keep giving ourselves an excuse to stay in the situation, to not move on. I know that's horrible when people say, oh, why don't you just move on from it? I mean, if you're in it, you're in it. If it's still painful and you need to do it, I mean, I'm not to take anything away from and say, oh, it's easy. But the thing is, what I see for myself is that a situation will come up, and then I will look and see, oh, what's it touching within me? What is the wound within me? What is the old wound? And I can sometimes understand, oh, this comes from this happened, and this happened, and this is why this is a very sensitive area maybe for me. In saying that, I am now, especially in the last time, I am really watching myself when I make excuses. Because I have found that an excuse is usually covering something else. And in a way, sometimes it is also a friend. I'm giving an excuse why it's okay for somebody to treat me a certain way because there's a justification, because something happened to them. And I'm looking deeper into the mechanics of that, the structure of that for myself. And I see that usually when I'm giving an excuse, I'm avoiding something. So all I'm saying is that if you find yourself giving an excuse for yourself or an excuse for a behavior of another person, have a look and see if you are truly supporting them by giving that excuse. Or at least use it to have a look and see what is underneath the excuse. The excuse might be absolutely justified and it might be absolutely true. But at some stage in each moment, we have a choice to look at that issue and see if it is nurturing us in this here now, and it is supporting us. I feel that I suppose if you're listening to me or any of my videos, then it may be that you are somebody who is trying to understand yourself deeper, who is somebody who wants to become more aware, that wants to try and get more comfortable with their life and themselves. So I feel that if you are this type of person who is saying, I want to understand myself, I want to know who I am, there is a great responsibility with that. And if you're doing your yoga and you're doing your meditations, or you're doing your therapy groups, or you're doing all these things, you are saying, I want to know myself deeper. Now with that, there is great responsibility. And then one has to start to be aware of dropping excuses. Otherwise, don't do the groups, don't do the yoga, don't do the meditation, don't do the therapy. If you are happy where you are, don't start asking for deeper understandings, because then you will go into a process of having to understand the deeper layers within yourself. And that means that a lot of maybe hidden stuff is going to pop up. So it's like, don't ask for it if you're not ready to do the homework, because it can become destructive to you if you're asking and then you're not doing the work. Existence is very generous. If you're asking, it will give you the lessons that you're asking for. But if you're not getting the lessons, then it becomes sometimes more and more, the lessons become more and more obvious so that you can catch them. And that is not always pleasant. So if you can try and understand the lessons when they first come in a more subtle way, then you don't have to go into a more gross understanding. And the understanding is that we're asking for it, so you can't complain about it. You're saying, I want to know myself. If you're doing yoga, you are opening the body, which means that you will open the emotional wounds of the body also. You will open the structures of the body as the energy starts flowing. You will start to see where there are blocks in the nervous system, where there are either emotional or psychological or even physical issues that are held in the body. If you are doing therapy groups, this will be the same. If you are doing Tibetan pulsing, it will be the same. If you are even doing just simple meditations, it will be the same. You have to understand that this is going to open you to be able to look into you and hold the space for you to be able to see what you are hiding inside yourself, in your wounds. And that is why, of course, it is beautiful at times to go to a place or be in a group with other people that can hold the space for you while you process maybe some deep wounds or some deep seeing or some deep habits that have supported you but maybe are no longer supporting you. So this is where it's very useful to be with a group of people or in a place of growth. As you move on, the test of aloneness comes, that you suddenly realize that you also have to be able to be alone, and you have your roots enough in the ground, you are grounded enough that you can go back into the marketplace and you can still manage to hold this space of processing. Now, a new term that seems to have come from me is that, and a new understanding is also that many people will understand something and they will understand it from the mind. Something will resonate and there will be teaching in a group or something will come and you will understand it from your mind. there is a process of deepening of that. So you might understand it from the mind, you go, yeah, yeah, got it, got it, got it. And sometimes you may have understood it from the mind, but it hasn't dropped through the emotional body, it hasn't dropped through the physical body, it hasn't really landed. So what I say, I've just been coming, it's like there's an eagle circling. And it may feel like on these videos I'm saying the same thing again and again. But it's like there's this eagle and it's flying around, and then somehow it comes. And sometimes there is a knowing when I'm with people. There is a knowing that they've understood. And they go, yeah, yeah, I've got it. And I know they haven't really got it. And then I just say to them, I don't feel the eagle's landed yet. It's not, the eagle has not landed. It's like it's come in, and that's when we want to go, oh yeah, I know it. But actually we only know it maybe from the mind. And there is a deepening of the process where we know it, and it comes through the whole being. And then at one moment there is an aha moment where you go, now I sort of got it. And it's like you can't, it's not even from the mind, it's not even in words, but it's like, shit, that's what now I see. Now I see the pointing, now I really get it. And in that moment, it's like I joke and I say, well, that's when the eagle has landed. It's like, okay, got it. And it often takes a little bit of time for all the different parts of us to come together and really, as a whole, to integrate. And then, of course, once we get that, then there is still an unfolding of the habit of the body-mind that is running a certain way and has always done something a certain way. So the habit is wanting to, and then we keep catching it. And as we keep catching it, if we feel it's no longer nurturing us, and we don't make ourselves guilty about that we're still doing this, we just see it, we become aware of it, and then eventually it starts to drop on its own. And this is the homework, this is the maturing into the space to catch yourself. So the one thing that is very interesting for me at the moment is watch when you want to make an excuse or a justification why somebody's doing something or why you are doing something. I'm not saying that it's wrong, I'm just saying just try and walk into your room, go somewhere else for a little while and go, I just justified something. Now what was that? And have a look underneath, go underneath, see what is underneath that justification. Because really, it's like when you truly love somebody, you never even have to tell them you love them because it's just there. We often start telling somebody we love them when we're not sure if they still love us, or we're not sure if we still love them, or we need to check it out. So we know, like when you're happy, you don't even think about it. When you're sad, and you don't really think about it, you're just sad. But just watch when you see you are giving justification for something. It will give you a hint that there's something in that for you to look deeper into, or to have there's a possibility to dive deeper into having a little look what's underneath here. And it's not to say your justification or your excuse is not valid. It may be. But usually, sometimes it can be that we have had something happen, and if we're not careful, we pull that thing into this moment. And in that moment, we have a choice to say, yes, this hurt, and yes, this happened, but I'm not there now. And how can I support myself in this moment in a way that nurtures and is supportive to me? And in that we start to unfold and open the wounds that we have. So in a way it's like a scab's there, but it's still festering maybe underneath. So you have to take the scab off, you have to clean the wound which hurts and goes, ow, it's really painful. But once it's clean, then it can heal, and then it can be much more supportive for your life and for those of others around you. Because if we are supporting other people in their maybe misbehavior of us, we are also saying it's okay for them to do that. And it doesn't, you know, there are many layers of it. There are many layers of why we do things. So it's not that we have to throw the baby out with the bathwater, as we say in English, but it is good for us to, I think, in this going into this new year, 2019, to start to be go a little bit deeper and have a little bit more. Be gentle with yourself. Don't be tough with yourself. Don't do a knee-jerk reaction necessarily with people. Find out what it is for you and see if you can understand yourself a little bit more and be a little bit kinder to yourself in this new year without pulling the past into this present moment and watching the fear of moving into the future also guide you. So what for myself is that I'm constantly coming back to this moment, and sometimes something will happen, and then it is a process of sitting with it and being with it and going through everything that is in there, but consciously doing that and being ready to look into those dark little spaces within the body-mind system, within the emotional system, and starting to understand ourselves a bit deeper. We are all so precious. We are all absolutely unique, and we are all needed, and we are all great gifts for each other. It depends on how we use that for ourselves and our growth. So I don't know when I'll get this out. I wish you a beautiful day. I wish you a beautiful beginning of going into this here now, the 31st. Okay. Know you are loved. Know this existence is never against you. And once you start really opening and finding the flow of it, there is such magic and mystery that can unfold and be very precious. And it's beyond the logical mind, I can promise you, sometimes, most of the time actually. But we use the logical mind and we understand things sometimes through that. But that aha moment, that's something very different. And I'm sure most of you that are, if you can manage to watch Suchira Gibberish, then I'm sure you have all had experiences of this. We are all where we are, and we're all beautiful. But let's unfold ourselves a little bit more with gentleness, with kindness, and dropping the excuses, dropping the justifications, and see if we can just call it as it is, even if we're being unaware. Just go, oh, I'm really being unaware at the moment, and I can't change that pattern at this moment. But don't justify it. Don't give it as an excuse. Just say, in this moment, I'm not maybe ready to do that. So, my darling ones, have a beautiful new year. And let's see what magic wants to open, what is opening in each moment. I love you heaps. Have a great day today.